Hey, Wellmont World Entertainment, and the case of buy physical media just continues to grow and grow. Except, of course, that is, unless they edit that physical media as well. Because that seems to be the case regarding Crocodile Dundee. Yes, that's right, you heard that correctly. Crocodile Dundee. Because the movie is getting re-released in Australia with what they're calling the encore cut of the movie. However, this is to celebrate its release, or re-release on 4K. But what you're going to get on the 4K is what they're going to show you in the cinema, and it's edited footage. That's right, they have edited the movie by removing not one but two scenes from the movie. Now we're going to go into this article that talks about this. It's a bit of a long one, and the guy who writes this is just a full-on pussy, like just flat out. He is one of these, like, it was never funny in the first place type of morons. But over the Christmas, you may or may not know this, especially if you're in the US and Canada and stuff, but in the UK on, I believe it was the 26th of December, Channel 5 in the UK showed Crocodile Dundee, the first movie. And I think the BBC did it as well. But they edited the movie by removing the knife scene, the most famous scene of the movie, and they removed it because knives are bad. And people complained or were like, what the hell? Where's the knife scene? The knife scene is the one, of course, we all know of. That's not a knife. That's a knife. Try saying that, quote, without doing the accent. You can't. But now they've removed two scenes for this 4K release. Now, if you buy the original Blu-rays and stuff, it's intact. The whole movie is intact. But this re-release is edited. But we're going to look at this anyway, and you'll see what I mean by how much of a bitch the guy who writes this thing is as well. So it says this. In 2020, the most complained about movie to the British Board of Film Classification here in the UK was the reissue of 1980's Flash Gordon. 91 people wrote to the board protesting a simple note that was added to the start of the picture, letting people know the film contained discriminatory stereotypes. Not a frame of footage of the film was touched. It's just 91 people felt advising people of something in the film was worthy of complaint. Now keep that opening statement in mind for what this idiot just said. Oh no, 91 people thought, ooh, it's worth telling people that there's a warning label at the start of this movie. How touched are they? And yet this clown goes on to complain about Crocodile Dundee. These type of little pussies, as I said, who are complaining about the whole thing of discriminatory stereotypes and all this crap, is the reason a trigger warning has to be put on movies. And he's complaining that the people who have common sense complain that, why the hell have you got a warning label at the start of a film? So it goes on. I always, again, this is all this article. I'm not in the UK. I'm not the one writing the... When you hear I and stuff, it's this guy writing this. So they say, I always thought the re-release of Flash Gordon was handled well. I'm not quite sure a plain re-release of Crocodile Dundee is going to go quite the same way. The original movie was released in America in 1986, where it became a genuine sleeper hit, and the biggest film of the year. It made an international star of Paul Hogan, and spawned a couple of sequels too. What's often overlooked though is that the cut of the film released outside of Australia was different to the one that originally debuted. Australian moviegoers got a slightly different, longer Crocodile Dundee, and now they're getting a 4K remaster of the film in cinemas in 2025. It's also a recut version of the movie, now known as the encore cut of the film. However, rather than just opening up the movie with a warning about material that doesn't look too good through the modern lens, it's being reported that 2.5 minutes has been snipped out of the film. As per Q News, which I have no idea what that is, probably Queer News known this bloody type of crap. There is opening text, but also material where Mick Crocodile Dundee and meets a cross-dresser has been edited out. Yes, that is, by the way, how this donkey wrote that. He said, Mick Crocodile Dundee and meets a cross-dresser has been edited out. Maybe you should figure out how to write. So it continues anyway, saying, it was never the best joke and always a bit jarring, but I do wonder where it leads to start retroactively editing films to fit a modern lens. I'm not in the slightest defending the joke and never liked it, but this is a very difficult road. Now, the joke they're talking about, again, like the knife, it is one of the funniest scenes in the movie. Yes, that's right, I said one of the funniest scenes, because it is. And it's the fish out of water moment, because he's from the outback. He's not from like Melbourne or Victoria or anything like that. No, he's from the outback. He lives with the Aborigines. He was raised by the Aborigines. He knows nothing really of the real world outside of that area. So when he's put in New York, later in the movie, it's a real fish out of water. And of course, he gets chatting to what he thinks is a woman at the bar. And it's a cross-dresser. And all the guys around him are laughing because they know. And he obviously doesn't. And they pull him aside. And the best way to describe the clip is to show you what happens. That is the joke that Vis doesn't like. And that they've edited out. Now, this clip took me forever to find. Because you cannot seem to find it anywhere on the interwebs. It took me forever. I couldn't even get it on YouTube. You could look up it on YouTube. It didn't come up, and for the bits that did, it wouldn't play, believe it or not, in this area. But this is the clip, because I do have it. This is the clip that they have removed. At least the first clip.
A guy. Guy dressed up like a Sheila. Look at that. There you all knew, you pack of bastards.
That's right. It's the old famous, he's dressed as a Sheila. Now, what's offensive about that? Oh, it's probably because the taxi driver, the guy who tells him, I swear, which I did actually cut out of it because YouTube will strike the video for it and probably pull it, is that he drops the F slur. And no, I'm not talking about the F word, the F slur. It rhymes with baguettes, if you know what I mean. So we'll continue with this anyway. It says, production company Rimfire Films issued a statement ahead of the Encore Cuts debut, noting that some years ago, Paramount Pictures and other distributors requested the reference to the crossdresser be edited from the original film, as they found it offensive. We agreed to that request. I love how this production company absolutely throws Paramount under the bus and says, they're the ones who made us do it. It's like, really? I'm kind of doubting that. It continues anyway. There's another joke on a similar theme later on in the movie that's said to have been cut. That's basically Mick Dundee groping someone. Now, you'll see the clip playing in this throughout. Actually, you'll probably see it now. This was the aftermath of him trying to figure out, hey, is that actually a guy? And he grabs his nuts, basically. And this person, this woman who has this very deep voice, and you're not sure, wait, is this a woman or is it a man? Mick, of course, does the same thing. And he's grabs her by the hooch and basically is like, oh, nice to meet you. And then his missus, the love interest, turns around and says, it's okay, he's from Australia. Because again, it's that fish out of water. And this thing doesn't even take offense to it. This woman, she doesn't take offense to it. You see her kind of gasping, but all of a sudden she's like, oh, So it plays into that way as well. So this continues saying, Hogan has signed off on the changes to the film. Inevitably, someone has wheeled out the word woke and asked him about it. Just wait until the Mail and Telegraph get a hold of this story. I shudder. What a fucking clown this person is that's writing this. Hogan's response is that people pointed out to him that this guy is a folk hero around the world. He shouldn't be groping people. And I thought, yeah, that's right. He shouldn't be. So take it out. I mean, he did it in all innocence, in naivety, but it's better without it. So they're trying to say that's what Hogan said, and it doesn't particularly sound like that was what he said. That sounds like it's what this reporter guy, writer, put in, and trying to make it sound like it was Hogan that said this. But it says anyway, the plan is for Crocodile Dundee, the encore cut to debut in Australia cinemas on the 8th of May, complete with 4K remastered. There's also a documentary about the making of the film with newly rediscovered materials telling the behind-the-scenes story of the movie, and blah blah blah. And no word yet on whether it's getting released in Britain and all the rest of the world. The fact that they are editing some of the crucial scenes, and why they are crucial is because, again, it's a fish out of water. It's not a dig and sly at trans people to start with, because it wasn't trans, it was a cross-dresser. And the irony is, Crocodile Dundee, for some reason, over the years, has just stirred up all this controversy from all these morons who are now finding it super offensive. Like, here is one thing, right, from What Culture, who did 10 movie scenes that would never have been shot today. And at number 8, it's Crocodile Dundee. But it's not just Crocodile Dundee, it's also the second movie, Crocodile Dundee 2. And what they write here is, Crocodile Dundee freaked out about transvestites, totally cool with gay deleting themselves. And what that's referencing is, if you've seen Crocodile Dundee 2, he's still in New York, he's in an office building, and he looks out the window, he's talking to a secretary, and he looks out the window, and there's a guy there ready to jump. And he's like, there's a guy out there. And he goes to get him back in, and the way he does it is, he just comes walking around the corner of the building like it's a casual thing that he does every day. And the guy thinks, hey, don't try to stop me. He goes, oh, I'm not trying to stop you, I'm on my break. I always come out here on my break for some air. You're blocking the way. And the guy's like, hey, and he goes, I'll wait till you jump. And he just stands there and stares at him. And your man's like, oh, I can't do it with you staring at me. He goes, oh, sorry. And turns around. And then asks the question, obviously, he's like, hey, why are you jumping? And the guy tells him, like, he was betrayed, his love for his life, the love of his life and all, betrayed him, yada, yada, yada. And when Mick kind of convinces him not to delete himself, he's like, yeah, he broke my heart. And Mick's like, he? And he almost falls off the building. They're trying to say he's cool with that. Does this article not realise that Mick Dundee went out on the ledge of the building to talk the guy out of it? But again, he was a fish out of water. He didn't understand that there was same-sex relationships. So the fact that they're editing all of this stuff all the time, putting trigger warnings on movies, is ridiculous. And what are they going to do in 20 years' time when all the shit they've been shoveling into our entertainment now, which are pronouns, your trans flags, your alphabet mafia crap spread throughout the whole thing? What the hell are they going to do when they, in 20 years' time, are told, hey, we don't like this. This is actually very offensive to us. We want that slapped with warnings, or all those scenes cut out altogether. They will go, oh, you can't do that. It's a product of its time. That's exactly what these things are. And the fact that there's even articles trying to say, oh, it's racist and stuff. How is Crocodile Dundee racist? He literally was raised and lives with the Aborigines. You fucking clowns. So again, people, buy physical media before these assholes go and change it on you. So with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.